Good evening and welcome. Tonight is Monday, January 8th, 2024. This is a regular meeting of the Minnetonka City Council. I will call this meeting to order and ask you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Typically, the next item on the agenda is roll call, but we have some new council members and existing council members who need to be sworn in a second time. So the next item on the agenda is the ceremonial oath of office for newly elected officials. So we've got two newly elected officials, and then we've got two returning elected officials, and they will all be sworn in now. So, Ms. Heine, I'll turn it over to you, and where would you like our...
If we'll do them one at a time.
Very good.
And in ward order.
So,
1 through 4.
Ward 1 is Patsy Foster Bolton. And
Stay right there, and Mike will pick you up.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Patsy Foster Bolton, do
I.
solemnly swear
I, Patsy Foster Bolton, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 1
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 1
of the City of Minnetonka
of the City of Minnetonka
in the County of Hennepin,
in the County of
to
Hennepin,
which I have been duly elected,
to which I have been duly elected,
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And next, Ward 2, Rebecca Shack.
Raise your right hand. I, Rebecca Shack, do solemnly swear
I, Rebecca Shack, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 2
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 2
of the City of Minnetonka
of the City of Minnetonka
in the County of Hennepin,
in the County of Hennepin,
to which I have been duly elected,
to which I have been duly elected,
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Paula Rameli.
I, Paula Rameli, do solemnly swear
I, Paula Rameli, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 3
the duties of Council Member Ward 3
of the City of Minnetonka
of the City of Minnetonka
in the County of Hennepin,
in the County of Hennepin,
to which I have been duly elected,
to which I have been duly elected,
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Kizzy Coakley.
I, Kizzy C. Coakley, do solemnly swear
I, Kizzy C. Kobe, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of Council Member Ward 4
the duties of office of Council Member Ward 4
of the City of Minnetonka
of the City of Minnetonka. Now you got me thinking like
in the County of Hennepin,
in the County of Hennepin,
to which I have been duly elected
in which I have been duly elected
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my judgment and duty to help me God.
Thank you.
I think I said what you
Congratulations.
said.
All right, very good. Well, thank you and congratulations to our new council members and to our existing council members. Well done. So that brings us to item 4 on the agenda, which is the roll call. So we have a new roll call tonight. So Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton.
Here.
Shack.
Here.
Wilburn.
Here.
Calvert.
Here.
Romaley.
Here.
Coakley.
Here.
Wearsome.
Here. Next item is approval of the agenda. It looks like do we have an addendum? No, we do not. Or do we do? Mr. Funk, we do have an addendum. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, you do have one addenda for your consideration. It is regarding item 7B, so it is upcoming here in a few minutes regarding the Racial Equity Dividends Index results. You'll be hearing from Mr. Jace Alexander, our Senior DI Coordinator, and included in the addenda is the score report for your consideration, and that'll be referenced here in a little bit. So with that, Mayor and Council, I turn it back to you for your consideration.
Very good. Thank you. So we have an agenda and an addendum. Let's see, is there a motion for approval? Councilmember Shack
Thank you, Mayor. I move approval of the agenda as amended.
and Councilmember Wilburn.
I second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Councilmember Shack and a second by Councilmember Wilburn. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Wilburn.
Yes.
Calvert.
Yes.
Romaley.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Wearsome.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is, let's see, approval of minutes. And we have 2 sets of minutes, and I think we can do them all in one motion. We have item A is the December 11th, 2023 study session minutes. And the second one is the December 18th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. So are there any comments, or Councilmember Calvert, or a motion?
I have a comment and a motion, and that is, I spoke with Mr. Funk earlier today. There was a minor change, which I believe will be incorporated. I think it was on page 6. I move approval of the December 11th study session minutes and the December 18th, 2023 regular meeting minutes with that change.
Very good. Is there a second? Councilmember Shack?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilmember Calvert and a second by Councilmember Shack. Please, Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton.
Abstain.
Shack.
Yes.
Wilburn.
Yes.
Calvert.
Yes.
Romaley.
Recuse. Abstain.
Coakley.
I say yes for December 11th and abstain from December 18th.
Wearsome.
Yes, motion carries. So the next item on the agenda is special matters, and we have 2 of them. The first is a summary of the city manager performance review, and I have to blow this up a little bit. So we, as a council, we reviewed the performance of our city manager, Mr. Funk, and the employment agreement between the commendable and satisfactory year of service. It was stated that he has exhibited strong leadership, effective decision-making, and a commitment to the well-being and progress of the city of Minnetonka. Key achievements include his exceptional strategic vision and planning, diligent financial management, and positive collaboration and team building. bear with me one more moment. He's been proactive in terms of community engagement, and he's successfully overseen infrastructure and development projects. So it was a very positive review, and I will speak personally. Well, Mike is recognized as an asset to the organization. He plays a pivotal role, and his leadership has been exceptional. And I can personally say that I've really enjoyed working with Mike this past year, and he has a fully satisfactory performance review from the City Council. So, Mr. Funk, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add, but we're glad that you were with us this past year, and we're looking forward to another successful year.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mayor. We're some members of the City Council, and to the public that might be watching. It's always an honor. I'll say this always. It's an honor and a privilege to serve not only the council, but to the residents and to our business community and with our staff. It's a tremendous city to be proud of. I'm honored to be serving as your city manager and look forward to 2024. And congratulations to all of our Ward 4 council members that were elected and re-elected. So I look forward to the working relationship. We have again, a tremendous city. We're a city that excels at excellence, and I love this city, as I said many times, and look forward again to this upcoming year. So with that, Mayor and Council, again, thank you and appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Funk, and I'll just offer to any council members, if you'd like to add anything, you're welcome to do that, or we'll keep things moving, but if you have any comments. All right, very good. Well, then that takes us to item 7B, which is the Racial Equity Dividends Index results. And Mr. Alexander, I believe you have that report, and so take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the Racial Equity Dividends Index is something that we participated in this last year. So the Public Sector Index was developed by the Center for Economic Inclusion, and it draws from the insights of expert practitioners and organizations that are at the forefront of racial equity in local governments, including places like PolicyLink, Brookings Metro, the Harvard Institutional Anti-Racism and Accountability Project, the Urban Institute, and the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, and more. And so the center staff selected and defined standards that are reorganized and validated as local government policies and practices that support tangible progress towards racially equitable outcomes within local governments. So the center focuses on education, job creation, advocacy, and anti-racism consulting. And you can see with their mission there, what they're trying to do. And in that graphic there, it shows you the tools that they try to use to get there. And so the Racial Equity Dividends Index for the public sector is a new analytical tool that they've developed to help city, county, and governments measure their progress towards building inclusive organizations that support racially equitable economic outcomes for employees and residents. So after completing the survey, we received a score report that identifies where we have met racial equity standards. It provides peer comparisons and also recommends opportunities for further progress towards racially equitable and inclusive policies that we might work with. And so our responses have also been presented in aggregate in an annual Racial Equity Dividends Index report, with high-scoring governments recognized and celebrated. So we were one of 22 public sector organizations to participate. And so that's just a little bit of background on kind of what we were doing. So the index assesses participating organizations based on their progress in implementing 70 racial equity standards across these categories of organizational activity. So leadership, hiring, culture, retention, advancement, procurement, finance and budget, community and economic development, public safety, housing, transportation and land use, public policy, and human services. So each standard required a multiple choice answer and was accompanied with definitions and examples to help us answer each question. We were also given the opportunity to provide details of specific practices and policies we're implementing now that are advancing racial equity in our workplace. I met with department leaders to fill this out. And so if a department leader didn't have the answer, they sent me to whoever in their department might have a little bit more. So that's kind of the process of how this went and how we filled out this questionnaire. So all 70 multiple choice questions in the 2023 index survey were weighted equally, and cities are scored out of 100 possible points. So we participated in this survey to help us create a baseline as a city within the categories above. So we know that we've been doing good work in Minnetonka, and now we have more data to help us continue on with what's working well and to identify areas for opportunities for growth. So that's why we did this. We can go to the next one. So I'm just giving you a high-level overview kind of what we looked at. I will be meeting with someone from the center on Wednesday for our one-on-one debrief of our results, so I haven't got to do that yet. But based on the packet that you have there, that's the data we'll be going over. So when you do have a chance to look at the report, it's important to look at that score on a curve. One takeaway from this process and seeing the results is that we all collectively as cities and governments have work to do in continuing to support racial equity. And the good thing is that the results of the survey tell us that we are moving in the right direction. So for leadership, hiring, culture and retention and advancement, procurement, community and economic development, workforce development, housing, transportation and land use, and public safety, we scored above average in comparison to peer cities. So we were one of the cities that was mentioned. There was an event and a gathering when the aggregate data came out, and so we were one of the cities that was mentioned as someone who is doing really well. So forward momentum is what we're looking for. It'll be exciting to see our growth in 2 to 3 years from now. But just a couple highlights. So we were 1 out of 22 local governments to participate in the first year of this survey, so we jumped right on board. 1 of 12 small cities, so 75,000 people or less. Our score report ranked us at the 91st percentile for all organizations, and then we ranked in the 100th percentile for our peer organizations. And I did ask, because I didn't think we would be considered a small city until they showed me what the numbers looked like. And so one of my concerns was, are we really comparable to the cities that you're comparing us to? And yes, we are. So that was one question that I had, and I got that answered. So we are, again, high scoring in those categories below. And so you'll see City of Minnetonka in their Racial Equity Dividends Index public sector report. We are listed under each of those categories as a high ranking city. So exciting to see. And again, we've got a baseline now that we can work off of. And so if we were to do this again in another 2 or 3 years and see where we are, we at least have some data to fall back on. That's all I got for you.
Mr. Alexander, thanks very much for the report. I don't know, Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Alexander, Councilor Calvert?
I have a couple. The first question I have has to do with recent news that this organization, we undertook this scoring hopefully, right, to move things forward, and that organization has hit kind of a speed bump and lost a good portion of their staff. And I was just wondering if I wasn't quite sure how much more we were going to collaborate with them and how it might affect this endeavor.
Sure. Mr. Alexander.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Calvert. So yes, they did have some layoffs. I talked to someone today, and I'm supposed to be getting a more detailed answer on Wednesday when we have our one-on-one. But from the person I spoke with today, there are no concerns about moving forward or in the next 2-3 years being available for us. So that is a question I asked. They felt like they might not be the official spokesperson, but based on what they know, that they're moving forward. And so I will be able to get a more definitive answer for you Wednesday.
Okay. And then my second question has to do with the methodology isn't explained all that well here in terms of, who and how. Like when we do our city survey, we know, we sort of know how it's done, like the phone calls, and that isn't explained here. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about who is included in terms of like who took this survey? How do they get this information?
Sure, absolutely. So like I mentioned earlier, I met with each department head. If they fell under a certain category, I started there, and like I said, it was 70 questionnaire, so it took quite some time. But in meeting with department heads, we would look side by side at the questions. All that they could answer, they would. And again, if it got a little bit more specific, they would point me to that person. So I worked with a lot of staff to get this all done and culminate this data.
So it was you doing the interviewing?
Yes,
Got
it was me sitting side by side with each department head or wherever they led me to get the answers to these questions.
And just the department heads?
No, I started with department heads.
Started with them, okay.
Yes, but I ended up talking to lots of different staff depending on what their focus is within the city.
Thank you.
Very good. Anything else, Councilmember Shack?
Thank you, Mayor. I think this might be a premature question, but I'll ask it and then we can think about it as we go forward. Do you feel like this process will give you actionable next steps? I mean, it's great data, but is there information and tools here that will help move our progress forward?
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Sheck. Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. And again, now that we have the data, we know, again, like what's working for us and where we have those opportunities for growth for those action items, right? And so if we scored a little bit lower in procurement, well, now we know that that's where we want to focus and create some action items around that specifically. Or if we scored higher in police and safety, we know we want to keep doing those processes and building from there. But yes, absolutely, we're planning on tying actionable steps to this report. And they do also offer recommendations based on other similar cities. So that's a good starting place for us as well.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Councilmember Coakley.
I didn't really understand that the survey was done internally by staff. And so I'm wondering, do you think this is a fair survey if you have your staff doing a survey such as this? And do you think that your staff would give you the just true answers when you have a staff member sitting there? I question that because I just wouldn't feel comfortable to be, well, I would, but because that's who I am. But I can imagine folks not feeling very comfortable giving out information to staff. Because usually I thought these type of surveys is done in private, like you would know who's answering or what a person said. So I'm just kind of curious about that.
Sure. Thank you, Councilmember Coakley. I would say, yes, we do fill this out, and I do think it's fair based on our score, right? Otherwise, we would have got 100 out of 100 if we were really concerned about people giving us the wrong type of data, right? And so in meeting with the department heads and the people that were helping me fill this survey out, I was very intentional in naming, like, there is no right or wrong place to be. It's just where we are. And so in doing that, I think we were able to get to a more fair and real score based on those conversations, especially when I would start with department heads and then have to bounce around a little bit and get the same information from multiple people. That made me feel more secure in the data.
Very good. All right. Anything else? Mr.
And
Funk.
I would just, thank you, Mayor and Council. I would just maybe add to what Mr. Alexander had mentioned, that we call it a survey, but it's really a self-assessment. And so it's questions that are provided to us as an organization, and then we need to answer those honestly and really, it's a self-reflection and assessment of where we are. So Mr. Alexander worked with, as he mentioned, directors. If he couldn't get all the information from one particular department, he was then directed to the staff member that could best help answer the questions. So it was, again, a reflection and a self-assessment type process.
Thank you. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
More clarity. Thank you.
And Mr. Funk, along those lines too, did we, and maybe a question for Mr. Alexander, this was a self-assessment that makes all the sense in the world to me, because, okay, are we doing things or are we not doing these? And you say yes if we are and no if we're not. But then we don't score ourselves, do we? We send in our information, and then we are evaluated based upon their standards and the pool of other cities that are responding. So while it's a self-assessment, it's not self-scored. So I think that that is very helpful. And the only last question I have, and this was not, really appreciate your report, and it's not, our attempt here is not to stump the band. It's, but do you feel good about this, and is this something that as we go forward, we want to continue with? Question A, and then question B is your expectation that the pool of cities involved will grow from the 22 that they had this year?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So yes, my expectation is that the pool will grow. And also, yes, I do look at this as a valuable tool to use every few years to just see, where our growth is and how we're doing. Sorry, was there one more question in there?
Oh, that was it. That was it.
I mean, I am meeting, like I said, one-on-one on Wednesday to get a little bit more data, and so I'm happy to answer more questions after that. I just wanted to give you a high-level idea of just kind of what happened, where we're at, and so meeting with them to get a little bit more in-sync data, and then happy to come back to you at any time with any questions you got.
Well, thank you very much. Any other comments, council? I will just say I had a boss a number of years ago who basically, one of his mantras was, you are what you measure. And if it's important, you measure it. And so I think having the tools that enable us to measure our performance on these various aspects provides a message to our community and to our employees that this is important. So I really appreciate the report, and thank you. All right, next is reports from city manager and council members. So it's an opportunity for council members to report anything of relevance, but we'll start out with Mr. Funk.
Again, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Just a very warm welcome. Again, Happy New Year to our council, to our residents, and to all of our business community on behalf of myself and our staff. Looking forward again to 2024. I do want to mention 2 or 3 other things. Last Friday, we did have a swearing-in ceremony for 2 new police officers here at the City of Minnetonka, and also the promotion of 3 sergeants. Those swearing-in celebrations are always fun, and you get to see the new faces that are entering our organization because it really signifies our future. And compliments to our chief and to our command staff. Do such an excellent job with not only building our bench, but also making sure that we recruit just the finest individuals. So really proud of that last Friday. Also want to mention that Ms. Dahman, our assistant city manager, has been working with 2 of our unions, both the local 49ers who represent largely our public works staff, and then also our police sergeants on union negotiations. Those contracts did expire the end of this December, so it's not uncommon that you get into a new year during contract negotiations. Those are getting close to wrapped up, and hope to have those to you perhaps at the next council meeting, certainly no later than hopefully the first part of February. Then last, I just want to mention, in the spirit of Mr. Alexander's presentation, that we are partnering with other cities to co-sponsor an event for government staff on January 16th for the National Day of Racial Healing, National Day of Racial Healing. Dr. Joy DeGrew will be presenting virtually. This event will be held online from 12 p.m. till 2 that day, and will be available to all city staff and even for yourself, mayor and council. Participants will learn about the impacts of racial trauma inside the workplace and gain tools to engage in racial healing to create a healthy workplace. You'll get more information. Staff will send you more information to what I just described, also with instructions on how you can join. So look for that correspondence to come. And then with that, Mayor and Council, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. So council members, any reports? Councilmember Shack.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to extend a Happy New Year to my colleagues and staff and residents. I think it is, as we go into 2024, which will be a challenging year, I think, in many respects, not so much hopefully at the city level, but with a presidential election. I just implore people to focus on giving grace and civility, and we're doing the best up here. We've got some new council members, and so if we could go into the year with that mindset, I think we would all be well served. Also want to congratulate all of the ward council members on their election and thank the folks that supported me, both my colleagues, staff, and voters. And then lastly, and probably most excitingly, many of you know I live on Big Willow Park, and we just closed out the Great Yeti Hunt of 2024. And I will tell you that with the weather and the lack of snow, the park was hopping all through the holidays. So it was really fun to see. I think my dog enjoyed having plenty of people to try to lunch at. But no, it was really fun, and I'm so grateful to the recreation staff for putting on these events that get people outside and highlight our parks even through some of the toughest times of the year. So happy 2024.
Thank you, Councilmember Shack. Other comments? Councilmember Foster Bolton.
I'd just like to thank the members of my campaign team. The hard work and support were instrumental in my success, and everyone who supported me throughout the summer. It was a long one. And I also wanted to say that I know I have really big shoes to fill. Not only Brian Kirks, but also former council member Bob Ellingson. I know he was a figure in this city. So be patient. That's what I'm excited to learn from my fellow city council members, and be patient with my questions and my all the stuff I need to learn. And also just that I have met with most of the city staff, and I've learned a ton already. And also mostly though that we all are a team, it feels like, and are all with, kind of one idea, which is to make Minnetonka a welcoming place to live, and make the lives of Minnetonkas improve. So I really appreciate all the help and all the patience that I know you're going to need from me. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Other comments? Councilmember Romali.
Thank you, Mayor. My thanks to you, all my new city council colleagues, and the city staff, echoing Patsy, for your very kind welcome, and also the very thorough orientation that you've been giving me over the past month or so. Also, a big thanks to all the family and friends and supporters who are here tonight in person, who watched us take the oath, and also to all of those who are tuning in to witness this very special evening for me. Special hello to my daughter Lizzie, who is staying up late in Germany to watch us live right now. And thanks to my son Alec, who was in Tokyo cheering me on during the campaign, and especially to my wonderful husband Reed, and everyone else who helped make this campaign a success for me. And thanks for all your support in helping make this day possible. I am beyond grateful. Also want to thank the residents in Ward 3 who came out to vote in record numbers this past November. Whether you voted for me, you voted for someone else, or you didn't vote, I am honored to have the privilege and the responsibility of being your city council representative. And I will work hard to represent and serve you and our community and the city to the best of my ability. I look forward to working together collegially and also collaboratively with all residents, staff, and my fellow city council members to continue building a city, as Patsy said, that we want to build a city that's vibrant and welcoming, sustainable, and affordable for everyone. So when we agree, I will, and especially when we disagree, I will do my best to listen and to learn, and also then bridge and act in the best interest of our residents and our community. I will do my best to do so with integrity, good faith, and good conscience in accordance with the constitutional oath that we all just took this evening, and also the statutes and laws of our city and our state. If I stumble, and I likely will, I'll own and learn from it, and then I'll move forward, but ask your grace as I do so, and I hope to extend that to others as well. So thank you for this opportunity to speak, and for the wonderful swearing-in ceremony on this special occasion. I look forward to getting started. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Romali. Councilmember Coakley.
Wow, I feel a little bit under pressure to speak now. Well, I just want to say Happy New Year's to everyone, and also I want to thank everyone who supported me in running for re-election. 2023 was a really tough year for me, but with community and family and just friends supporting me, I decided to keep going and prevailed. And so I just really want to say I appreciate all of the support. I appreciate city staff for even encouraging us in, why not run again? So I really appreciate the support from staff too, and all my fellow city council members, and also want to welcome the new city council members. And I talked to Mike earlier today and told him that I know sometimes I look a little serious, and sometimes I got teased today about how I walk. They say you walk like a soldier. And sometimes where I'm from, I talk about this a lot, sometimes you have to stand and walk like a soldier because sometimes it gets tough, and 2023 was definitely a tough year for me, but I kept going, I kept pursuing, and everything's working out. And so 2024 brings a lot of hope, and we just got to keep moving the city forward, and I think we've come a long way, and I really like the way Minnetonka has moved forward, and I just see the good work that the city staff, council members, mayor, we all have been doing community in this city, and I feel it, and it's very hopeful, and I'm looking forward to 2024. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Coakley. Anyone else? Councilmember Calvert.
I'll just be very brief. Happy New Year, everyone. And I just want to welcome my new colleagues, welcome back my former colleagues, wish the mayor a lot of luck with the all-female council. And I just want to say, this is a team sport, and I really look forward to working with my colleagues. And I also just want to say, thank you not only to my colleagues for running, but also to the people that didn't prevail in their campaigns. It is no small task, especially if you've never done it before, to run for office. It's scary. It can be confusing, and it is more work than most people can imagine. And then for the people that just got elected and are new, buckle your seatbelts, because that was just training. But very excited for the new council, and I just want to say how proud I am of our police department for the promotions and the swearing in of new officers. They look pretty amazing, and they will be in good hands with Samson, the therapy dog, who's my favorite person in the whole city. And just Happy New Year to everyone. I hope it's a good one.
Yeah, okay. Councilmember Wilburn, don't feel compelled, but you're welcome to say something if you'd like.
So I kind of have a reputation as the quiet, succinct one, but I feel like no, I wanted to join in welcoming our new council members and congratulating our returning council members, and I look forward to us all working together to serve the citizens of Minnetonka and try and make Minnetonka the best city that we can. And that's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilburn. And I'll add, because I feel obligated to say something, and I will. But first of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm very optimistic about 2024. It will be a challenging year, but it's going to be a good year. And I'm very excited about our new council. I want to welcome Councilmember Foster Bolton and Councilmember Romali here. Councilmember Calvert said it earlier, this is a team sport, and I really believe that. We come from all different backgrounds and all different perspectives, but the one thing I think I can say with confidence is that we all share a passion for this city, and we want it to be as good as we can be, and we are committed to excellence. And I think that is so important, and that we share that value, and that when we disagree, and we will disagree, and we're not, the votes are not always going to go our way. But when the city makes a decision, when we as a council vote, we're going to make sure that that decision is successful, not we're not going to say, well, I didn't vote for it, so I don't support it. No, what we're going to do is we're going to reflect on the fact that we voted as a council and made a decision on behalf of our city. And for our city to succeed, we are going to work to make that decision successful. And I think that if we are respectful and collaborative with one another, we will be a very successful council. And that has been our history. I'm proud of what we've done in the past, but I'm also confident about what we will do in the future. So I congratulate all the election winners this year. I share Councilmember Calvert's comment about the people who stood up and were not successful, but had the courage to step up and run for election to serve our city. And we need people who have that courage. I'm proud of our city. I'm proud of this council. And I can promise you that we will work hard to do the work of that our city needs to have done. So Happy New Year, everyone. So that brings us to item 8, which is citizens wishing to discuss matters not on the agenda. And so this is an open mic opportunity. And if you have any comments that you would like to share with the council and on a topic that is not on our agenda tonight, please bring it forward, state your name and address, and we will listen to what you have to say. And if there is no one, we'll move on to the next item. But I want to make sure that does anyone have anything? All right, nothing for tonight. So that brings us to item 10, which is bids and purchases. And we have one item, 10A, is bids for the City Hall Pond Maintenance Project. And Mr. Olson, I believe that is your report. Good evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight are the bids for the City Hall Pond Maintenance Project. For some background, pond dredging is a budgeted maintenance activity in the city's capital improvement plan, and this type of project is one that the city completes each winter. So this project proposes the removal of excess sediment in 2 sedimentation ponds and the replacement of failing culverts on the south side of City Hall here. These improvements will return the ponds back to their original functionality and improve water quality both in downstream wetlands and ultimately Minnehaha Creek. This work is being done in compliance with the Minnehaha Creek Watershed District and city stormwater regulations. Regarding bidding, the state law requires projects like this to be publicly bid to all contractors and awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. Additionally, for projects like this, staff requests that City Council authorize total funding for the project to cover administrative and engineering costs as well as contingency when entering construction. So this is really an approved, not to exceed cost for the whole project. The project scope is completed with city standards from an administration standpoint, and that means things like prevailing wages are not necessarily included in this project. However, the city does use prevailing wages and other administrative things like that on state and federal work, such as, say, the Hopkins Crossroad project or Opus Bridge projects in the past. Specific to this project, bids were opened electronically on December 28th, 2023, and 8 bids were received. The low bid contractor is Carrilla Contracting, and they have successfully completed public projects, however, have not worked in Minnetonka in the past. If the actions are approved by council, construction will begin later this month and be complete by March 1st. And with that, I will turn it back to the mayor with the recommendation to award the contract for the City Hall Pond Maintenance Project to Carrilla Contracting in the amount of $179,988.00 and authorize the city engineer to expend the allocated funds for project costs without further council approval, provided the costs do not exceed the project budget of $300,000. And both those items require 4 votes. With that, available for questions, and turn it back to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Those pond maintenance projects are not cheap.
They're not.
But council, any questions for Mr. Olson? Anyone? Looks like we may let you off the hook pretty easily here. How about a motion or comments? Councilmember Wilburn.
I move that we award the contract for the City Hall Pond Maintenance Project to Carrilla Contracting in the amount of $179,988 and that we authorize the city engineer to expend the allocated funds for project cost without further council approval, providing the total project costs do not exceed the project budget of $300,000.
Thank you. And a second, Councilmember Calvert.
I second. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilmember Wilburn and a second by Councilmember Calvert. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Wearsome.
Yes, motion carries. And I will comment on the one process improvement. I note that the number of votes required on each aspect of the motion is included, and that is always good to know. So thank you for that process improvement. So a motion carries. Next item is the consent agenda, and that is item 11. And consent agenda items are items that are typically routine, so that we read them into the record, and we vote on them in one motion, 1 second, and one vote. However, if anyone, either in the audience or with the council, has further questions and would like an item pulled, we will ask as they are read into the record that you raise your hand and indicate that you'd like to pull an item. Then we will vote on the items that have not been pulled, and then we will return to the item or items that have been pulled for questions and comments, and then we will act on each of those items separately. So I will read them into the record. Consent agenda item 11A is an ordinance amending the city code section 710.005 regarding certain fees. Item 11B is a conditional use permit and floodplain alteration permit for an attached accessory dwelling unit at 19102 Covington Road. Item 11C is a designation of the official newspaper for 2024. Item 11D is, I hope I haven't messed that up, it's normally a consent agenda, it's usually item 10, but because we had our swearing in, it's just confusing me just a little bit. Item 11D is the city manager 2024 compensation. And item 11E is the 2024 strategic profile action steps. So before we vote on that, would anyone like to pull any of these items? Is there anyone? Councilmember Coakley.
I made a comment to city manager earlier today. I'm not for sure if I need to pull it or if I could just
You can share your comment.
share. Okay, so I'll share it.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I asked about not just the scholarship being for youth, but also anyone who qualifies, so that's including families, so adults as well. So I just want to put that on record.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Ms. Dahman?
Councilmember Coakley, thank you. We did talk about it today, and right now there is nothing, but we do hope that someone in the DEI Commission can also help us research and look into, and we have it on our work plan for 2024.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Dahman. And Councilmember Foster Bolton.
I just had a question about 11A, so I don't know if we,
All right, well, I'll tell you what, you can pull it. It's not a big deal. We'll just pull it, and then we'll vote on the remaining ones, and we'll return to your question.
okay.
It's not
Okay.
a problem. So we'll pull, and then Councilmember Shack?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion then on consent agenda items 11B, C, D, and E.
And is there a second? Councilmember Coakley?
I'll second.
All right. So for the four items, 11, B, C, D, and E, we have a motion by Councilmember Shack and a second by Councilmember Coakley. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Wearsome.
Yes, motion carries. And then returning to 11A, Councilmember Foster Bolton, you had a question, and feel free to ask that.
Okay, so I just didn't get I looked at the fee summary table on page 2, and I guess I didn't really get the existing and then the fee change. So it said, oh God, gosh, just a second, let me find it. I just didn't understand. So it says inspection not allowed and correction not made. Is that stuff that happens like, and I didn't get, what's prohibited reconnection made? So is that something that like, there's a reconnection that was prohibited? I mean, I just didn't get it.
It's a good question. We'll ask Mr. Olson, our city engineer, to respond to that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Foster Bolton. Those are the sanitary sewer surcharge fees, and that actually goes back to 2006 with the INI work that was done. And those,
provide a little,
No.
no acronyms on the first night. So,
infiltration, so it's stormwater entering the sanitary sewer system.
Okay.
And so there were connections made. The city did work to separate those connections so that, say, sump pumps would be discharged outside, not to the sanitary sewer. And so the explanations are not extremely clear there, but the city actually sent letters to all residents in 2006 looking to do an inspection to make sure that those connections were not made. And so the first is inspection not allowed. When the residents would not respond, that was a fee then that the city moved forward with to implement all the inspections. So really these are older items from 2006. However, as we replace water meters moving forward, our Public Works folks will do inspections further and verify these connections are not in place at this time. So that's really why the increase in fee is now appropriate.
Okay.
Does that do it for you?
Yeah, thank you.
all right. So now the way this works is that you get to make the motion on item 11A, and you can just say, I move 11A, and get to do that.
I move 11A.
And is there a second? Councilor Calvert?
I'll second.
All right, so on the item 11A, we have a motion by Councilmember Foster Bolton. Nicely done. And a second by Councilmember Calvert. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Wearsum.
Yes, motion carries. Item 12 is consent agenda items requiring 5 votes, and we have one of those tonight, and that is the applications for the annual renewal of precious metal and secondhand dealer licenses for 2024. And so is there a motion, Councilor Shack?
Thank you, Mayor. I move approval of consent agenda item 12A.
Is there a second? Councilmember Wilburn.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilmember Shack and a second by Councilmember Wilburn. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Wearsum.
Yes, motion carries. Item 13 is introduction of ordinances, and we have no new ordinances tonight. Item 14 is public hearings, and it is an on-sale intoxicating and Sunday on-sale intoxicating liquor licenses for Heather's Minnetonka LLC at 5445 Eden Prairie Road. And Ms. Wishnack, I believe you have that.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I will just take a few more minutes than I normally do. Usually this part of the process is very quick. We introduce you to a project. More than 28 days later, we have the continued hearing on a liquor license. So basically there are 2 steps. One is you get familiar with what the application is for and where it is. And then the second hearing is to see the results of the background information, hear from any public that might want to talk to you about the issuance of the liquor license. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the process of the city placing signs on property. So if you go out to the site, you'll likely see a large sign, a blue sign that says pending liquor license application, and that usually alerts neighborhood people in the area to contact the city, or if they're aggrieved by what's happening, they share their concerns during a public hearing process. So this is the first night. You'll have another night that you look at this as well. This particular application is for Heather's Minnetonka LLC, which is the company name. I put their existing location on the left-hand side of the screen. They're at 52nd and Chicago, current business. This would be a second business for them in Minnetonka, and it's in the what is now Kazuku Japanese restaurant. And so that is moving out, and Heather's would be moving into this location located in the Glen Lake area. If you're familiar, just right across from Unmapped Brewing. Usually people know that location, so hopefully that helps your geography. So the action that the staff is requesting you take is to continue the public hearing until February 12th, and that will be for your final consideration. And at tonight's meeting, you need 4 votes. When you consider the full liquor license, that requires 5. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you for any questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wishnak. Council, any questions on this application? All right. Seeing none, I am going to open the public hearing. And is there anyone in the audience? And I know we do have the applicants on the phone. If they are interested in commenting, they're not required to. The public hearing will get continued to a future meeting, and so there will be opportunities to speak in the public hearing both this time and that time. But is there anyone who'd like to speak to this item in our audience, or would the applicants like to speak via the telephone? I'm not hearing anyone. So with that, I think we can just take a motion and a second to continue the public hearing to February 12th. Councilor Wilburn.
Excuse me. I move that we continue the public hearing until February 12th, 2024 for final consideration.
And second, Councilmember Romali.
I second.
Very good. So we've got a motion by Councilmember Wilburn and a second by Councilmember Romali. Ms. Engelland, please call roll.
Foster Bolton?
Yes.
Shack?
Yes.
Wilburn?
Yes.
Calvert?
Yes.
Rameli?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Wearsum?
Yes, motion carries. So that takes us to item 15, which is other business. And that is a resolution designating a new acting mayor and alternate acting mayor. And the way this normally works is that there's been kind of a long history of a rotation. And it tends to go, it's a little bit of seniority based. I mean, we try and rotate around in such a way that that all council members will have an opportunity to be the acting mayor and the alternate acting mayor, but we try to offer a little grace to new council members, so they're not expected to do that. So based upon the rotation that I studied a little bit and compared notes with Mr. Funk today, the next 2 people up are Councilmember Calvert and Councilmember Shack. So the motion would be for yes.
So you skipped me when I came on council because I was new.
Yes.
So
Would you? Okay. And I didn't recall that specifically. I mean, would you like to be in line? I mean, you're in line. The way it looks is that next year you'd be alternate, and the following year you'd be acting. But if you'd like to, you're right, because you were new, and it was following that, kind of the designated approach. So, what is your question? And we'll take it from there.
I guess my question is, should I be at the beginning of should I be higher in the rotation since I was skipped earlier on?
And I don't know the answer to that question. The way I mean, I'll tell you, and we can have a conversation about that. The way it looked based upon the data that I have, it would be Councilmember Calvert would be next, then Councilmember Shack, then you, and then probably Councilmember Coakley, and then our 2 new council members, Councilmember Romali and Councilmember Foster Bolton. So that's looking a long ways into the future, but so you would be, based upon what I've laid out, you would be the alternate acting mayor in 2025, next year, and the acting mayor in 2026.
That is assuming that I get reelected.
That is always an assumption, and there are, I mean, not everybody, I mean, there is turnover. So, I mean, it would be up to you to say if you'd like to accelerate that, we could probably do that, but that would be an action of the council. So, I mean, if you want to propose something else, you're welcome to make an alternative motion. Yep.
I'm happy to, looking at this, I think I can see where your data came from, where Councilmember Wilburn is, what we had was Councilmember Carter, who was your predecessor, was on the list, and I would not have any problem if, according to this, Councilmember Calvert was acting and Councilmember Wilburn was alternate, and then I
just
would,
slide it down one.
Yeah, shift it for next year.
Would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I was just going to say yes, Your Honor.
That's your, excuse me.
My day job.
That's your day job.
I was in court today, so yes, Mayor, I will make the motion that for 2024, Councilmember Calvert is acting and Councilmember Wilburn is alternate.
Very good. Is there a second? Councilmember O'Malley?
I'll second the motion.
All right. Did we procedurally, did we do that all right, Ms. Heine, in terms of, all right. So we have a motion and a second, a motion by Councilmember Shack and a second by Councilmember O'Malley. Ms. England, please call roll.
Foster Bolton?
Yes.
Shack?
Yes.
Wilburn?
Yes.
Calvert?
Yes.
Romaley?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Wearsome?
Yes, motion carries. So just for clarity, Councilmember Calvert will be acting mayor for 2024, and Councilmember Wilburn will be alternate acting mayor for 2024. And then we'll tackle 2025 a year from now. So with that, item 16 is appointments and reappointments, and we have none. And item 17 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilmember Calvert,
I move adjournment.
is there a second? Councilmember Foster Bolton?
I second it.
So, motion by Councilmember Calvert, a second by Councilmember Foster Bolton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Now, we like to think we're done, but we're not. We have an EDA meeting, and the task at hand is quite simple. Well, maybe not based upon this last item. We need to select, and we'll open the meeting, but the task at hand before we open the meeting is to elect officers for the EDA. So with that, I will, tonight is still Monday, January 28th, 2024, January 8th, 2024. This is a meeting of the Economic Development Authority of Minnetonka. I will call this meeting to order, and I will ask Ms. England to please call roll.
Calvert?
Here.
Romaley?
Here.
Coakley?
Here.
Foster Bolton?
Here.
Shack?
Here.
Wilburn?
Here.
Wearsome?
Here. The next item is approval of the agenda. There, Ms. Wishnack, I don't believe we have an addendum.
No, we do not. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Calvert,
Mr. President, I move approval of the EDA agenda.
is there a second? Commissioner Shack.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Calvert and a second by Commissioner Shack. Ms. England, please call roll.
Calvert?
Yes.
Romaley?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Foster Bolton?
Yes.
Shack?
Yes.
Wilburn?
Yes.
Wearsome?
Yes, motion carries. So then, item 4 is approval of minutes, and we have the December 4, 2023 EDA minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Commissioner Wilburn.
I move approval of the December 4th, 2023 EDA minutes.
Very good. Commissioner Calvert.
I'm second.
So we've got a motion by Commissioner Wilburn and a second by Commissioner Calvert. Ms. England, please call roll.
Calvert,
Yes.
Romaili,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Wearsome.
Yes, motion carries. So the next item is the 2024 election of EDA officers. And Ms. Wishnak, if you have a staff report, that'd be great.
Thank you. And in this circumstance, I'll refer to you as president and commissioners, as we do in the EDA role. I won't explain what an EDA or Economic Development Authority does tonight, but we can cover that at another meeting. Tonight's issue at hand is your election of officers. The Economic Development Authority does have its own set of bylaws. Those were included in your packet, and they were recently updated, so they're fairly recent bylaws that you have in front of you. So the items that you do have to elect officers for: the president, which is the mayor, so that one is predetermined. The vice president, which you've acted now, is Councilmember Wilburn as the acting mayor. The treasurer.
No,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Calvert.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Calvert. My fault. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Happens to me all the time.
All right. And then the next item is a treasurer, and you do need to elect a treasurer. The assistant treasurer is denoted as the finance director, so that's predetermined by the bylaws. They also perform the duties of the treasurer, so it looks a little intimidating in the packet what all those duties of the treasurer are, but the finance director handles a large majority of that. The secretary is the city clerk, and the executive director is the city manager. So it's really that one office you have to pinpoint somebody for the treasurer. Thank you,
Very good.
President. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Wishnak. So that's the challenge before us. We have to select a treasurer. Now, I will say that it's not a particularly busy role. It's more to fulfill the requirements of our bylaws than it is to actively do anything. So we have, as officers, the mayor, Commissioner Calvert, and Commissioner Wilburn are already holding offices on the EDA. So we need a treasurer, and we have 3 remaining council members. And if anyone would like to volunteer, I'd say there's probably a very good chance of being selected. But we do need someone. All right. Okay.
I was going to nominate Rebecca anyway, so good.
We're going to need a motion anyway, so that's
Okay,
good. So,
I'll make a motion.
all right. So, as long as you're going to do it, make it for the whole ball of wax, for all of the officers. We don't have to do them independently, do we, Ms. Heine? So if you want to make the motion.
Is it on a screen? I'm going to need it on the screen.
Here, I'll tell you what. I will tell you. So if you will make the motion to have the mayor be the president and Commissioner Calvert to be the vice president and Commissioner Wilburn to be the pardon me? What did I do here? Let's see.
I think, are you thinking about pro tem, Mayor? Is that what
Yes.
you're thinking of?
So, well, the treasurer will be a commissioner elected annually. The vice president will
Right.
be the acting mayor. Okay.
I think, Mayor, you're referring to, there is a section of the bylaws that talk about Mayor Pro Tem, or I'm sorry, President Pro Tem, and that is technically the, not Calvert, but Wilbert.
Wilbert,
Yeah,
okay.
That's automatic as well.
Okay. So
Don't need to
all
appoint
right.
that.
So we don't need that motion.
Correct. Well, we keep going. Your
Okay.
treasurer.
And then for treasurer, we need Councilmember Shack. So if you made that motion, I think that would pass.
Okay, so yes, I'll make the motion.
All right, we've got that. Very good. We got a. Is that good enough for the record? So thank you, Councilmember Coakley. So we've got a motion for officers, as noted, made by Councilmember Coakley, and second, Councilmember Romaili, or Commissioner Romaili.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Coakley and a second by Commissioner Romaili. Ms. England, please call roll.
Calvert,
Yes.
Romalee,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Wearsum.
Yes, motion carries. So that brings us to item 6, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Commissioner Calvert.
So moved, Mr. President.
Is there a second? Commissioner Foster Bolton.
I second it.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Calvert and a second by Commissioner Foster Bolton. All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Well done.